Okay, boxing fans. Right now, we're doing a quick discussion on Khan versus Alexander. It's a good fight, really. It's not had a lot of hype behind it. Both fighters have actually got their mouths pretty much shut throughout this one. Well, Khan's not really, but more than usual, I would say. So we'll go into this one. Just asking the guys a few questions. We got Paulie Mac here, and we've also got the chef from Boxing in the Kitchen. So I'm going to start with Paul. What do you think about this fight, Paul? Do you think the loser of this fight is going to be finished at world level?
Yeah, they've got to be, because both guys have lost a lot of high-profile fights in the last 2 or 3 years. You know, both of them really need they both need a big victory. They both had victories as well as losses, but neither one of them's, none of Khan's victories have really put him back at the top of the heap, and neither have any of Alexander's. Both of them need a big win to make a statement. That's the word I'm looking for. They both need to make a big statement if they're going to hope to be taken seriously as top guys in the division and possible opponents for you-know-who. But the loser, yeah, I'll just finish. The loser has got absolutely no chance. I wouldn't be surprised if the loser never fights at world level again.
Maybe. Chef, what do you think about this fight? What's going to be saved up for the loser after this fight?
Well, I think that I'm not quite as down on them as Paul is. Like, I think that if you have a look at their records, they've got a really similar record. They've got similar reach and similar height, and they're both 27. So I think they've still got years left in them. But like Paul said, maybe they won't get a fight with Floyd Mayweather if they lose this fight. I mean, they'll have to win about another 3 or 4 fights on the trot, and by then Floyd will probably be retired by then. So if these guys do want a genuine shot at Floyd, they're going to have to keep winning several more fights on the trot. Yeah, but Devon Alexander, he did lose to Bradley all those years back. Then he probably lost to Matisse in the next fight. Then he lost to Sean Porter last year.
You've missed out Katelnik. Katelnik kicked fuck out of him.
Yeah, and Katelnik and Amir Khan, he lost to Peterson, which I thought was unfair. You should have won that. And Garcia, he got completely knocked out. And then he's looked pretty poor ever since then. Just that win over Collazo last time out. So for about 4 fights on the trot, he did not look good, and then he redeemed himself against Collazo. But all in all, yeah, I don't think the loser of this will be completely finished. But they need to keep winning if they want to be considered world level fighters.
Yes, chef. So, Paul, does the winner deserve a fight with Floyd Mayweather?
No, really, because what is the criteria for even deserving a fight with Mayweather?
I think I can help you out. They've got to be someone who's relevant, someone who brings in a lot of money, someone who's going to help the pay-per-view buys, and someone who's not really going to trouble Floyd.
Well, to be honest, that rules both of them out, doesn't it? Alexander doesn't bring any money, does he? He doesn't bring any pay-per-view, and Khan isn't someone who's going to be easy with his style for Mayweather. So, no, I don't see how either one of them deserves a fight with Mayweather if you're going off, recent performances, because, as Ryan said, they both lost some fights, or at least not looked very good in fights for a while now. And Khan got splattered by, what's-his-face, Garcia, and hasn't looked any good since. Alexander got absolutely embarrassed by Sean Porter, who was an unknown. And has he fought since Sean Porter? I think he fought once or twice. Carras, yeah. And he won the fight, but did he set the world on fire? No. Neither one of them, unless it's a massive beat down, like a sort of thing, like whether Alexander just knocks Khan the fuck out or Khan knocks Alexander the fuck out. Unless it's a really dramatic ending that gets the fans talking, then I really don't see how beating a guy who's in the same boat as you really propels you up the pecking order for a fight with Mayweather. But as I've said, Mayweather just seems to change his mind every few days over what he thinks as people's criteria to fight him. So I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if they got the fight. But am I interested in seeing the winner fight him? No, that's how I sum it up.
Mm-hmm. Chef, do you think the winner of this fight should be saved up against Mayweather?
Nah, definitely not. Because if Khan wins, He, like I said, he lost to Peterson, although he probably didn't. He then got knocked out by Danny Garcia. That was, certain. Then he struggled with Carlos Molina, struggled with Julio Diaz. Both fighters who, coming up in weights and long, past it. Molina wasn't so much past it. He just never had it. And Luis Collazo, he beat, but he did beat him really comfortably. So he redeemed himself there. So he's got one big win on his card in the last 4 years, and that was Collazo. So does that get you a Floyd fight? No, shouldn't do. Whereas Devon Alexander, he had those 3 poor fights on the trot: Kotelnik, Bradley, Matisse. Did I say 4? I meant 3. Then he redeemed himself against Maidana, and then a couple of dreary fights, and then lost to Sean Porter, and then he beat Jesus Soto Carras. So 1 win, Carras. That doesn't get you a fight with Mayweather either. That's why I said they'll need to win at least 4, 3 or 4 more fights on the trot. And by then, Mayweather would have retired.
Maybe so. We'll move back to Paul. So, Paul, HBO and Showtime are going head-to-head for this one. Which show is better? You've done some research. You should know now. Come on, Paul. Give us your opinion. Which one is better?
If I was in America, I'd be watching the Showtime card. And I'm definitely going to watch the Showtime card on the night because there's HBO on Box Nation. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I'd assume so.
I assume so. I don't think they've announced it, but surely they wouldn't, not pick it up. Whereas the Showtime card's on Sky. And yeah, I know what I'm going to be watching on the night. Bradley Chavez. Bradley's coming off that loss to Pacquiao. Bradley lost to Pacquiao earlier on in the year and hasn't really done anything since. It's just a tune-up fight for him that he should win and win comfortably. Whereas, Khan Alexander is an exciting fight for me. All right, it's not a fight of the year or anything like that. It's not one that I'm going to be biting my fingernails waiting for, but it's one where I think we'll definitely see some action. And you've got Bundu and Fairman on the undercard as well, and that's going to be another good fight too because both of those guys have got really good styles.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few 50-50s on that card, isn't there? Which is what boxing fans want.
Yeah, and I think what's on the other card? Andy Lee and Korobov. Is that the one on the HBO card?
Yeah, that's not a bad fight.
Yeah,
actually.
That's not a bad fight. I might watch that the morning after when it's on the internet, but I'm not going to be watching it live on the night. I'm more interested in seeing what's happening on Showtime. Like the HBO card's not terrible, but no, I'm going to be watching Showtime over it.
Okay, Chef, what are you going to be watching?
Probably the Showtime card. Although when we were talking before, I did say that I'd be watching the HBO card. They're both quite equal, the 2 cards. I mean, the HBO card's got Mauricio Herrera against Jose Benavidez, and Benavidez has been prospect of the year for about the last 10 years. He's finally making a step up to this sort of level. So that's going to be a good fight. Bradley Chavez, I think, is going to be competitive. And Korobov Lee, that's going to be competitive. And then on the Showtime card, you've probably got 2 better main events with Thurman Bundu and Alexander Khan. So I think they both match up quite well. But I don't know, maybe the HBO card... I quite like those 2 undercard fights, Korobov Lee and Herrera Benavidez. I'll probably be watching the Showtime card, but maybe trying to switch back and forth, see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks, Chef. Paul, what were we saying about this fight, the Khan Alexander fight? Where will this fight be won and lost? Give me your opinion.
It all depends on whether Khan can get back to being the old Khan. The Amir Khan who was blitzing people like Zab Judah and McCluskey and who's the other? When he was when he was world champion about 3 years ago now, when he was the unified 140 champion, and he just looked to be in amazing form. If he can get back to that, then I think he's going to win this fight easily, really, because Alexander has got a style that's tailor-made for Khan. Really has, sits on the back foot. Southpaw, doesn't fight at a fast pace, doesn't like being roughed up, which is exactly what Khan is going to try and do to him. Khan loves to fight southpaws. He loves to fight guys who let him come forward, and he loves to fight guys who are not going to really trouble him in the chin department, which I don't think Alexander can do, because I don't think Alexander's power's all that at world level. You don't know, because Khan's chin is, as we've seen before, it's a big question mark, isn't it? It seems like you don't have to be a big puncher to hurt him, so maybe Alexander can land a I wouldn't call it a lucky punch, maybe he can just land a really good, beautiful punch like he has in the past, and he can hurt Khan. But he's not going to outbox Khan for me. No way is he going to do that. Khan's too fast. He's not going to beat Khan up, like, do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely just abuse him for 12 rounds. That's not going to happen. If Alexander is going to win, he's going to have to land a beauty of a shot and finish Khan off while he can. He's not just going to drag it out and beat him up. But I don't see that happening.
Just quickly, I'll just give you a quick question. I've not got this one wrote down, but I was just thinking about it. If you go back like a year to when Alexander was the champ, right? Alexander, when he was about to fight Khan, was the favourite to win their fight. This is like, before he lost to Porter. Do you think, and now obviously Khan is the favourite, slight favourite. What do you think about that? Who should be the favourite in your eyes? Do you think it was the bookies had it wrong first time, or what?
I'd always pick Khan to win this fight. I'll tell you a bit more later on, but I'd have picked him to have won the fight when they were supposed to fight last year. Was it? Like in?
That's was it last? It was back. It was like not too long back.
Yeah, it was about a year or so ago, but he ended up swerving it, didn't he? I'd have picked Khan to have won that fight then, even when Alexander was champion, and Khan hadn't beaten Collazo yet. And I pick him even more convincingly now. I think Khan's the rightful favourite. I think he's got the better record, slightly better record. I know they both fought Maidana, and Alexander beat Maidana a lot easier than Khan did. But Khan's beat a lot of other guys too. He beat Judah. He beat, in my opinion, he beat Peterson. I'm not having it that he lost that fight. He beat Kotelnik, another guy. I think he won every round against Kotelnik when he first fought him. And as we've said, Kotelnik gave Alexander an absolute arse whooping. So Khan has a slightly better record for me. I think he's got the style. His style is perfect to beat Alexander, in my opinion. So I would always pick Khan to be the favourite, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll go over to Chef. 2 questions for you, Chef. This is 2 courses for you. I see what I did there. So, firstly, I've got for you, where's this fight going to be won and lost? Worry about that one first. Give us an appetizer.
Well, I think that Amir Khan is going to totally stick Devon Alexander in the frying pan and, just sizzle him away. Because I think that he's, like Paul was saying, he's too fast. He's pretty accurate. I'd say Amir Khan is pretty accurate, fast and accurate. Although he does tend to sort of get wayward throughout the fight, that's when he starts clinching. That's when he starts pulling the guy's head down. That's when he starts sort of panicking, moving away too fast. But even when he is doing that, he's still got that speed, and that his talent that he does have is enough to beat 90% of his opponents, which is why he's won 90% of his fights. So I think that Amir Khan is going to have too much of everything for Devon Alexander. And like Paul was saying, Devon Alexander, his last impressive knockout, I mean, I know he stopped Lee Purdy, but that fight was a total mismatch from the beginning. But his last knockout, which was also his last, his most impressive knockout, was the one against Juan Arango, which was nearly 5 years ago now. And that was Urango. He looked like he was quite a good fighter for a time being, especially when he fought like Ricky Hatton, and then he just sort of disappeared. So maybe, fizzled out. Maybe he wasn't quite as good as we all thought. And Devon Alexander landed a peach of a counter. Since then, Alexander's been going downhill ever since. He's had one impressive win since the fight against Marcus Maidana. One impressive win in 5 years. So, whereas Amir Khan, he's had a few impressive wins. He had that win against Collazo. He had the arguable win against Peterson, which, let's face it, he was screwed in that fight. He had the impressive win against Judah, who who has since then gone on to secure a few good wins. McCloskey, that was a good win, although, McCloskey's not all that good. The only thing that I'd say between the two is Alexander beat Maidana better than Khan did. So, all in all, I think Amir Khan's got all the credentials in this to, totally beat Devon Alexander.
So, would you agree with the bookies then that now Khan is the favourite? They got it wrong first time round.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give you my opinion now on that one, because this is one I want to do. Khan always fights good against southpaws. Devon Alexander is obviously a southpaw. Devon Alexander always fights shit against people who can box. He only fights good against one-dimensional people who keep coming forward and allow him to walk away on the back foot. Khan's not like that. Khan's not going to do that. Every single time, look at the guys. You got Kotelnik, he's not one-dimensional, he beat him. Even the people on the commentary were saying, well, and they were very, very pro Alexander, well, Alexander can come again. Oh my god, I didn't agree with that decision. That's what they were like. And then, straight afterwards, he fought, was it Matisse and then Bradley, or in some form he fought those guys. And Bradley is not one-dimensional. Bradley beat him fairly easily, and I think this is going to be another thing now. The only question is, will Khan stop him, or will he go the distance? And that's a good question. I mean, the other thing we got to consider in the stoppage ranks is, will Alexander quit? Because he's quit before when times were tough. So you got to wonder that one through. But we'll move on. Paul, do you want to give us your prediction?
I think Amir Khan will stop Alexander. It won't be like a knockout or the referee waving it off. I think, as you've just said then, I think Alexander will quit in between the rounds. I think he'll probably get cut because Khan tends to cut his opponents with his fast combinations. I think Alexander will, after about 8 or 9 rounds, get fed up and, just like he did against Bradley, say, you know what, I've lost this fight. I'm not turning this round. I've had enough. I want to go home. I think that's what will happen. I think Khan is too fast for him. Khan is too accurate for him. Khan's style is perfect to beat someone with Alexander's style. I really can see Alexander taking a bad loss here. If he proves me wrong, then he proves me wrong. Maybe I'm giving Khan too much credit here, but I've got faith that we're going to see the Khan of old. We're going to see the Amir Khan who was blitzing his way through the light welterweight division a couple of years ago. I really think Khan's going to rise to the occasion because he knows there's a good chance he'll get the Mayweather fight. I think he's going to stop Alexander, or Alexander will stop himself, however you want to word it. I think the fight will be over after about 8 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. Right, moving on. Chef, what is your prediction?
I think Amir Khan wins a unanimous decision. I think, like Paul was saying, maybe Alexander will cut, and if he does, he might quit like he did against Timothy Bradley. Although, then again, that might have been one of the first times he was cut. I can't quite remember if he's ever been cut that bad before. And if it was the first time he's been cut that bad, then maybe that affected him. Because who knows what it feels like to be cut the first time. So maybe he could be let off for that. But so he might get cut. But I think he's got enough, in him to go the distance. I think Khan will just use his speed and jabs throughout, take him out of the frying pan and into the fire. Stick him in the oven. And, so I think Amir Khan, I think he wins quite a comfortable unanimous decision, probably about 9 rounds to 3.
Mm-hmm. Damn. Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be a unanimous decision. I don't think Khan's going to stop him, but I'll be very interested. If Khan stops him, I would be very impressed, because one thing, this ain't a Devon Alexander hating spree. He's got a good chin. He went the distance with Maidana, didn't really get hit in that fight. He went the distance with Matisse, he got dropped in that fight, but he got up and continued well. And he fought Karas, but he looked a bit shot. But we'll give him the credit for that anyway. He's got a good chin. I think the only question of the stoppage will come down to if his heart's in it or not. And when the going gets tough, Alexander might get the bus home. That's the only question I've got. Is that going to happen? But I'm going to say no. He's going to give it his all. He knows his career's on the line, and he'll just lose and a decision, pretty wide, and then we'll see where he goes from there. He might even fight Thurman afterwards. That wouldn't be a bad fight for Thurman, but we'll move on from that. And thanks for listening to that, guys, and tell us who you think's going to win this fight.